what are the principles of men communicating attractively to women?
So we have broken down the flirting process. Let's see if I can do this. It's been a long time since I've had to get out there and do this. The first piece is...
Massive lad.
So the first piece of it is just interest that we think about. And let's pretend that you're in a bar or something. What we're trying to avoid in this stage is I have to go to the bathroom. I'm just bored of you. And so when we're talking about this is the playful stuff that we mentioned. It's a lot of the things with what do you do, where you're from, finding ways to be interesting. This isn't sexy necessarily. This isn't I want to hook up with you. It's just I want this interaction to continue. The second piece that I think a lot of guys skip out on is having genuine standards. When you receive a letter from Harvard University that you've been accepted, it feels wonderful. When you receive a letter from the community college that takes 100% of the people, it doesn't feel good. And the truth about dating, like it or not, is that we often date people to affirm things about ourselves. So when you have no standards for this other person and they feel like they could have been anyone, like truly it was their shape that attracted you to them, it doesn't generate any sort of interest in you. But if you're indicating through interaction, for instance, if you're out at a bar or a club and somebody is rude to a waiter or waitress or bartender, you go, oh my God, I can't stand people who do that. If I were, I don't care how beautiful or fun or sexy you are. Like when I see that kind of behavior, it's a total turnoff. Just as an aside in a conversation, that's communicating to the person that they care about my personality, right? And now the thing is, you want to have genuine standards. So this is easier for people who have dated and who have had, perhaps dated someone they were very attracted to, who had personality traits that they didn't really like. If you can go through your history and ask yourself, what are the things that really do attract me to people that are not sexuality or, shape-based things? What are the things that make me repulsed? And list those out and find ways to incorporate those into conversation. For instance, I have most enjoyed my relationships with women who were incredibly affectionate. So when someone early in an interaction says, I'm a hugger, I go, oh my God, I'm going to love you. Like I'm the same way. I can't stand people that just want to touch on the shoulder, say hello, or high five every time. And that communicates to them that there are things that I am selecting for and you actually are within that category. Now, it is crucial here this is not a strategy to fake, right? If you're just saying these things and really it's no, you just have the shape and the look, it's not going to work nearly as well. And it's also just not good for you. You're going to wind up in the relationship that sucks. And then the last piece is sexual tension. And I think this is the part that is probably most uncomfortable for a lot of guys, is being able to sit in a sexually tense scenario, which might be lingering on eye contact with someone, interaction with a smirk on your face. It might be dancing close without having to crack a joke. Being able to manage that sexual tension while sometimes relieving it with that playful push-pull stuff does not come natural to most people. They try to escape it as soon as they feel it, and therefore they're never
sitting with that
building
discomfort's hard.
Oh yeah, and it is tense. It's this in-between stage of, do you like me? Do I like you? Are we going to kiss, or are we just looking into each other's eyes? And being able to hold that and enjoy that is something that we talk about. It takes some time to develop, but there are some things that you can do. So for instance, most people, if they go on a date, say you match someone on Tinder or Hinge, they'll go to a bar, they'll sit down on opposite sides of a booth, talk about work, and then at the end of the night, well, hope you had a good time, and there's been no sexual tension built. Versus if you go to the bar, you say, hey, let's sit over here. You sit at the bar. While you're communicating with them, you put your hand on their hand. When they make a joke, you say, I love that. You give them a hug. You hold their arm while you're telling a story to demonstrate what somebody did. You are building this sort of this physical tension between the two of you that gets more and more comfortable and allows for those sort of close, is it happening, isn't it happening interactions. And you're not putting all the weight from going from 0 to 60 with the goodnight kiss at the doorstep, which feels awful and is just an amount of discomfort that is not fun for anybody to experience. So those are the sort of the buckets that I think about, at least when I'm talking about it. And what I try to ask guys specifically to do, because it's a different scenario with girls, is to think about where they are not going to the next level. And it's they're just walking away from me as I start conversations. Okay, let's talk about being more interesting in conversation.